this is rather embarrassing. For those of you that have been watching our channel for any length of time, you know we have two tractors. Our 1953 Ford Jubilee that we affectionately call Lucy, our 1968 Ford 4000 diesel that we call Hank. We bought old tractors for two reasons. Never owned tractors before. One, they're substantially cheaper than new tractors. And two, from a lot of the research I did, that if you take care of them and do basic maintenance, they will essentially run forever. Well, what happens when you miss one of those basic maintenance things? So these old tractors don't have any working gauges at all. None. And I'm showing my millennialness that I have gotten very used to things like temperature gauges and little warning lights that pop up on your dashboard that say, hey, you should change your oil soon. Cool, no problem. But yeah, Hank, no such luck. So Hank had an oil leak that I fixed recently, but apparently he's also been burning quite a bit of oil. So much so that he ran out. Now I probably should have had a schedule where I checked the oil once a month, or every time I did the air filter in my house, or something like that. But I didn't. And when I checked the oil and saw that he was essentially empty, there were metal shavings in it, which is no good. So how deep does the damage go? I don't know. The engine didn't seize. That's good. I'm fairly certain I have a blown head gasket because I have white exhaust coming out of my diesel motor, and it smells sweet, which apparently is the telltale sign of antifreeze. I am not a mechanic. I have put on alternators and changed oil and a few things like that, batteries, hydraulic lines. I've never gone tearing into a motor past a head gasket trying to find out if the pistons are bad, if I blew the bearings from the oil pan up, or any of those wonderful things. So this is all another brand new thing. The good news is, it's not a complicated motor. The bad news is, it's behind my bucket. And as you can see, we have started to separate the front end loader from the tractor. A couple bolts in the back, a couple bolts up front. But what I realized trying to drive out from underneath it is I actually have to jack this part of the frame up high enough to get the control arms in the front under. So that's what we're working on today. None of this would have happened if I would have just checked the oil. There's still coolant in it. When I replaced the oil filter after we had overheated it, because I flushed it and put new oil in it, there was not coolant mixed with the oil. Those are two ways you can know if there's coolant in your oil or oil in your coolant, but it's also possible it blew out the side and now it's coming out the exhaust. There's no real way to know until we dive into this thing. So today, my hope is to get the rest of this separated and at least figure out how much of a rebuild we have to do. It could be something as simple as a head gasket. The bearings and crankshaft could be shot. If that's the case, you have to break the tractor in half to get the engine out, and I don't know if that's going to happen. You don't agree? I know. This is Esther. She's our therapy dog. Not really. She just makes us feel better. Don't you, sweet girl? Our video production has been slightly delayed as we have had some of these things going on and I have not had time to grab you and go. That's why the tractor's already halfway disassembled. And it was Mother's Day, and it was our 19-year anniversary a few days ago. So, happy Mother's Day, Mrs. Flannel, to all our mothers out there, and happy anniversary. All right, let's see if we can get the rest of this apart. So what you didn't see was I spent like 6 hours on this thing yesterday. We are apart. We have successfully decoupled Hank from the front end loader, which has seen better days. This would be a great time to take it apart and paint it, but we're not going to. I only smashed up a little bit going across it there. Squirted hydraulic fluid all over. Now here comes the real test. That was a few hydraulic lines and 6 bolts and some jack stands. Not the end of the world. We gotta dive into that. All right, well, it's not gonna dive into itself. So we've removed the oil pan. If you can see all that in there, metal shavings. That's how we know something ain't good. We've got the head gasket off, it looks okay. This is the head gasket, nice and clean and not holy looking. But I don't know when these things go, if it actually blows a hole in it or if there's just a little seam somewhere that gave. So we'll see. And we gotta take the bearings off the bottom of the motor. And I don't have a good place for the camera for that, so we'll talk to you in a minute. All right, so in our never-ending adventure, we have the pistons out. You can see right down to the crankshaft. What concerned me was that the bottom bearings had worn out between the pistons and the crankshaft. Here's the bearing for crankshaft 3, cylinder 3. See how thick it is, nice and smooth. This is the one from crankshaft 1 or cylinder 1. See the edge, it's worn, it's thin. This is where the flakes of metal were coming. This one and number 2. Thankfully, the cylinder walls are okay inside the block, no holes in the block. Our pistons look okay, little pitting on top, but nothing on the sides. The sides are smooth, and nothing here, which is where that one bearing was that got chewed to bits. It's all nice and smooth still. And thank God the crankshaft is okay, because that means I don't have to break the motor in half to try and get that out. So we should be able to order a fairly in-depth engine rebuild kit. The only one I found is in England, so we'll see how long it takes to get here. But the motor is not kaput. So, in our next video, we will not be putting the tractor back together. We'll probably be doing more planty, homesteady type things. But if you're gonna own equipment, I guess you should learn how to fix it. Thank you to a couple friends of mine who have been on tap so that I can call them or text them pictures and go, hey, what do you think? Hey, what do you think? Hey, what do you think? I'm gonna need them a lot more when I put it back together. Keep growing as you grow. My name is Brian. I'm glad you were here. If you haven't already, please hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you next time here at Flannel Farms. Bye.